In this special episode of Garden Time, we stop by Tsugawa Nursery in Woodland, Washington. Brian Tsugawa met with us to talk about early spring color perennials and shrubs. We also talk about adding great texture to your garden with dwarf conifers. Garden Time is brought to you by Capital Subaru in Salem, Oregon.
Here at Capital Subaru, we are family. From you, our customers, our coworkers, and even our actual family members work here. This is my son, Casey. We're generations ahead of the competition, and we're always working to keep you and your family moving.
We're here for you. We make it easy to join our Capital Subaru family.
All the support you need, from sales and financing to service and parts. We'll be here for you for generations to come.
And generations after that.
I'm Blake.
And I'm Casey. We make it easy to join our Capital Subaru family.
Where it's
your way on the Parkway.
Welcome to the Garden Time podcast. We're based in the Pacific Northwest of the United States in a Zone 8 region. This zone deals with plants that can survive in 10 degrees Fahrenheit or warmer. I'm producer Jeff Gustin with your hosts Judy Ellaruzzo and Ryan Seeley. And welcome back to Garden Time. You know, a trip to Woodland would not be the same if you don't stop at Tsugawa Nursery. And spring always brings some interesting plants, colorful plants to your garden. And we're here with Brian Tsugawa, and we're going to talk about some of these beautiful plants and some dwarf conifers that you might want to consider for your spring garden. So I'm going to let you guys take it away.
All right. So Brian, we're just saying this year has not been good so far. It's been really cold, it's been rainy, and it just was hailing. And so these plants are really out in your yard, and they are just taking this weather.
That's, we're just starved for color right now. So, anything blooming is going to really, this kind of, I guess you'd say early season, the pieris and stuff. And so it's kind of just the first round of early blooming seasonal plants there for the
We'll start with this pieris because look at this beautiful plant. This is an evergreen, right?
Yeah, it sure is, yeah. It's a lot like a rhododendron, probably in the same family. You got the red new growth, 4 to 6 feet tall, so it's very close to rhododendron and protect from that hot sun, exposure to the heat, and they do fine after that. Just a nice sunny location.
Now,
bees love them too, by the way.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah.
So this is mountain fire, and this has a white flower, but with this red new growth, but there's other colors of flowers too, right?
Yep, there's light pinks, variegated foliages, and mostly just pinks and white blends kind of stuff, but a lot of in the foliages, a lot of new ones with variegated foliages and stuff like that.
But then you get some with the new growth is different.
Look at this
the mountain fire has a real bright red,
I think it's
but
one of
the
the
one that Judy's
nicest ones.
holding there, which one is that, Judy?
This one is forest flame, and it's more coral.
Yep, it is.
Really nice, but another tall one, but there's smaller ones for containers too, if you have just that kind of space.
Very dwarfs. There's some like 2 feet, 3 feet, and so it all the way up to, just like rhododendrons, you can get them all the way to 6 foot tall. Yeah.
Nice.
And the rhododendrons, those are, it's in the Pacific Northwest, those are kind of the workhorse of the garden. And you have, this great selection, but this one really kind of caught our eye. What has the variegated foliage?
Variegated foliage, President Roosevelt. Yeah, we've had it for a while now, and it's always consistent. You probably never can get tired of that one. The bicolor in there, and again, kind of an earlier season bloom. So lots to offer. Variegated foliage, kind of a two-tone in the flower. It's really nice.
With the foliage, like you're saying, that variegated, usually you just see them all green, but they have that, that golden variegation to it. Yeah. And then the flower has that, like I said, that two-tone with the white, really white, deep throat centers and the red blooms on the outside.
Winter is so blah, right? So like the winter heathers and anything to early season, March, is a bonus for us here, to add a little color into the landscape.
We always tell people that they have to visit garden centers at least every month because there's always something different. Right. Yeah, and really, this time of year, your yard is just filled with color.
It is. It's been kind of a slow start here, but we can do get trucks in here pretty fast, and trying to feature early blooming stuff right now.
Right. Yeah. In this, we were just talking rhododendrons. This one's one that looks more like an azalea with real small.
Definitely
small
more like.
foliage.
I think a lot of customers actually refer to it like an azalea, but it's a dwarf rhododendron, purple gem or ramapo. They're very close, and I think 2-3 foot tall. And again, another one, just a small leaf, small flower. That's what makes it look like azalea type, but stays nice and compact.
Right. And it's just loaded with buds.
Yes, they
small
do. They cover themselves.
And you know, you talked about the heathers, and there's actually hail sitting in the heather.
Yeah, we just got hailed on, yeah.
But you know, the flowers are not affected. I mean, sometimes you can get some ripping or some defoliation because of hail, but that heather has really stood up to that.
Yeah, very tough, yeah. I think I've never really seen it affected. Maybe some harsh winter in or winter conditions, but I've never seen it. It's pretty much going to be blooming every year, every season.
And that's Kramer's red, which is a deep pink, but there's many different colors
too.
yeah,
there's a whole world of heathers and heaths and stuff, but a lot of winter heathers, summer heathers, different foliage change, you know, the changeable in the foliages, and just lots to offer in heathers, yeah.
And where would you plant those?
Again, they're actually a rhododendron family, so well-drained soils, you know, they not a shade-tolerant plant, so I'd go full sun to partial, and just a lot of drainage is like the most important thing, you know.
Perfect.
Yeah, so you have a lot of the early spring color with the blooms and the new growth. Maybe we picked out one of the grasses down there. The Japanese forest grass is another one that provides you a lot of color.
Yellow always, for some reason, just really stands out. Conifers or whatever, the yellow really stands out. So that one, it's a little slow to start, but it turns really bright yellow, gold.
Right.
And it's a deciduous grass, so it's going to go away, but I think that every garden needs a Japanese forest grass. Just that habit is so beautiful, the way it just kind of flows.
Yep, it's graceful blades or whatever,
Right, and it pairs nicely with all of these other evergreen shrubs where
the textures,
the big bold foliage of a lot of these, and then you get the softer looks of that.
Always softens.
I like the stems. The stems are a darker color.
It is.
That is a pretty one.
It even makes that foliage stand out more.
Yep.
And so it's a real
you
bright
can see that
kind of golden foliage with the red
the
stems.
stems against that yellow is really, like Jeff was saying, stands out. Huh?
Right.
Yep.
I think this is a nice little garden you can just put in right away.
I was just thinking the same thing.
It's a nice combination.
It is.
And then
colors and everything.
Mixing in the different colors and textures. You mentioned there's a lot of great conifers.
Yep.
That you can mix in. You got a couple picked out over here.
That's just it. Winter, they're just like good. What would you call them? They're always there, so they never go away. They never change.
Foundation plantings.
Pretty much.
This is really a nice one.
Yeah, actually, I just brought that in. It's just a new type of Leyland cypress, but it's under 6 to 8 foot, so would fit well in like little dwarf conifer gardens. It only grows like 4 to 6 inches and just stays really small.
It has kind of like almost like a crust, like an arborvitae kind of look, but a lot more compact.
Exactly.
I
don't know what there is a cross, Western red cedar and something else, but that's exactly right. Leyland cypress variety there.
And nice deep green. I mean, it is gorgeous.
I think so. It's just nice and fresh.
Really nice little shape.
Yeah.
And then I think an old favorite too is Hinoki cypress.
Yes. You can see that's like 2-4 inches of growth. I think that's just nice, fresh green all the time. It doesn't really look tired ever, and one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And some of the Hinokis can get kind of big, but this one here is more of a dwarf compact.
It is. And they just always look pretty consistent, that nice green.
And
So
maybe
well, I'm just wondering, what defines a dwarf? I mean, because...
Yes, very good question. 4 to 6 feet, it would be like an intermediate, and anything under, I'd say dwarf would be classified 2 to 4, you think?
Okay. And
I would say, 2 to 4 dwarf, and then intermediate 4 foot to 6 foot would be, that's pretty much.
And then kind of your standard would be that 6 to 8 foot plus.
Yep, exactly,
Yep. And then this one is it's a Lawson cypress, springtime. Look at that color. It's got that just really beautiful light green with almost chartreuse tips.
I think it just has a nice appeal to it there, doesn't it? Yeah.
It's kind of that little silver veining underneath those little
it's soft too,
there.
so when you are trying to trim it or work around it, soft.
Very
makes
nice.
Makes a big difference, so you don't get
What a collection.
beat up. Yeah.
And they do play so nice with a broadleaf evergreen.
I think so.
I think that extra texture of the garden really makes it more interesting.
Yep.
And
that's usually what you try to do in design. Try to always increase your seasonal interest though. So obviously dwarf conifers, there's got to be a room for that, with the grasses, and it all plays a part, so.
This one's pretty. And maybe a more broad habit?
That's moonfrost. Yeah, that's a dwarf Canadian hemlock. I think like 3 to 4 foot tall, but it's variegated, so you're going to want to protect it from the sun. It can probably burn up on you. Yeah, but just again, nice. It's soft.
It is soft. Yeah. It really has a pretty habit.
And then when there is more of a ball shape, it looks like.
I think so, like kind of like a mugo pine, or it tends to grow out like that. So it's more of a prostrate habit. It doesn't really grow up; it's more out and like that.
Arching, spreading
Yeah.
kind of habit.
Yep, exactly.
I like those next to big boulders. I think that's kind of pretty the way it kind
And
of
softens the looks.
Yep.
Yep. And here's another beautiful deep green one.
Yeah, it's pushing some new growth on it. Another Lawson cypress, nymph. This 4 to 6 foot tall. It's really nice. It just has the new tips bringing in the kind of the two tones with the greens, but just it's going to grow into a nice little manicure, or just you don't have to do any trimming. It just stays pretty well under control.
Right. And for a cypress, it has a little different foliage than your typical.
I think
cedar,
so.
cypress, like this, almost like a Japanese cedar.
Yeah, definitely.
I almost thought it was a cryptomeria when
Right.
you grabbed it, but yeah, that's exactly right.
And a little blue. This is really nice. I think it would be nice in a container with some summer annuals in it.
I think you could do a conifer planting, a little dwarf conifer trough garden. It would grow anywhere in whatever you want to do. I think very versatile.
And that's what's nice about a lot of those conifers, as Judy was saying, is you can have those in a big container as kind of that focal point in the center, and then change around your plants.
They don't require as much water as the the broadleaves. So these alone would be really well for a kind of a low water requirement too. That's another thing.
That's important.
Again, drainage, but low water requirement. So.
And do you carry a lot of different of these dwarf and miniature?
Yeah, we actually carry a lot in the bone size section, like little 4-inch pots, different sizes, so you can do small little planters and stuff. But yeah, we have from all the way up to 10, 12 foot stuff, so from small to tall.
And it is that season that you have all of the various annual color that can go around in those,
definitely.
in those planters too. So.
Yep.
I love this last one you're holding up. For
really
those
like
that are
that.
listening, it's almost like little shooting stars at the end of
It
each
is.
little branch
Exactly
with the new
right.
growth. And beautiful, beautiful plants.
Yep.
Now, for people that are planting, obviously different plants, different soil conditions, or can you treat them all roughly the same and getting them in the ground, other than sun and shade?
Yeah, well, I think in the yard and then in planters and containers. In containers, I think they all need the drainage. Don't you think, Judy?
Yeah.
You got to have that drainage in there. But in the yard, I would always say the rhododendron or the rhododendron family stuff, heathers, azaleas, pieris, it all would not do well in a poor drain. If it was soggy soil, they wouldn't last long. So you'd always want to increase drainage in their organic material. Never plant it too deep. I think that's a common problem that I always see is planted too deep, and you can see where the bark dust was mulched a little bit, and then they don't have a chance to live.
So as far as picking out plants, knowing their area is important for the gardener. So what would be some tips that you would recommend for somebody coming in to the garden center?
Well, if it's an important focal or highly visible walking into the entry or from the street, I think the more information we would have, like location of the sun, the pattern, morning sun, afternoon sun, exposed heat, as a wall or different
Reflective
things like
heat,
that. Reflective heat. There's just the more information you have, the more knowledge you have, the better off you can do on selection. That's pretty good.
And water requirements.
Yeah.
Some
Right.
people have those real kind of boggy kind of areas that tend to stand a lot of water in the wintertime, and areas that just cook because their sprinklers don't quite.
Yeah, a lot of
reach it,
people,
but
they
those
just
are
don't
all-
have time to do the watering, so of course now with all the rain, but but going into June and July, it is something to consider when you're doing like broadleaf and different things like that. So if they're not going to be around, then you'd want to probably either wait for the fall or just be aware of the requirements.
And preparing the soil when you get the plant home.
Yep.
Not bigger than the pot that it's coming home in. We try to tell people
It
that
is.
all the time.
Yeah.
If you haven't been to Tsugawa's in Woodland, Washington, if you're in the Portland metro area or north, you got to stop by. I mean, you guys have some wonderful plants. You've been supporters of the show for many, many years.
Yeah.
And every time we come, we find something that's always new and exciting. So thank you, Brian.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you for dodging the hail and to have us here. For more information about Tsugawas, you can always go to gardentime.tv. You can find the link to watch this, or you can find the link to listen to this again if you'd like to. But please stop on by. Thanks again for watching and listening, and we look forward to seeing you next time, and happy gardening.
DRAM is celebrating 75 years of design and manufacturing of quality watering tools. DRAM products feature 9 water patterns and are designed to nurture your plants with a shower of rain. DRAM for lawn and garden, available at garden centers near you.
Here at Capital Subaru, we are family. From you, our customers, our coworkers, and even our actual family members work here. This is my son, Casey. We're generations ahead of the competition, and we're always working to keep you and your family moving.
We're here for you. We make it easy to join our Capital Subaru family.
All the support you need, from sales and financing to service and parts. We'll be here for you for generations to come.
And generations after that.
I'm Blake.
And I'm Casey. We make it easy to join our Capital Subaru family.
Where it's
your way on the Parkway.